What's up, guys? This is Alex from Beyond the Veil Horror Podcast, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. We're actually going to be doing a spoiler-free review of John Wick Chapter 2, and it's a good one. John Wick is back with more guns, more bullets, more weapons, more knives, and more headshots than the first movie, I think. First off, let me just say that when John Wick came out in 2014, I was kind of on the fence on whether or not I was going to watch this movie. When I did, I realized that I was an instant fan, and I had already given up on Keanu Reeves long ago, but I loved it. When John Wick first hit the theaters in 2014, the movie was made with $20 million and made about $80 million. It was inevitable that a sequel was going to surface at some point, but I feel like even though it still made some money, I feel like it was kind of a sleeper hit for a lot of people and they didn't really know about it. But it grew into a cult following of this movie as more and more people told their friends to check it out. In Chapter 2, John Wick comes back after paying a debt to the underworld that he owed. He realizes that they put a brand new bounty on his head, and all hell breaks loose. Some of the old cast is back too, like Ian McShane, who plays Winston in the Hotel Continental. Lance Reddick is back as the lobby guy. John Leguizamo is back as the chop shop guy, Aurelio. We also got some pretty new additions that I actually quite enjoyed. Ricardo Scamarcio is a new villain who plays Santino D'Antonio. Ruby Rose from The Orange is the New Black plays a new character as well. Common, who happens to be one of my favorite characters in this movie, joins the cast as well. Lawrence Fishburne rejoins Keanu Reeves for the first time since Matrix. Peter Stormare drops in a quick little drop into there. And one of my all-time favorites is probably Franco Nero, who, if you are unaware of who this guy is, he was a legend. He played the original Django back in the day and was like a huge spaghetti western kind of guy. But I urge you to check out Django if you haven't already. One of the things I liked about the original John Wick is the style, the feel of it. The whole puppy scene really kind of pissed me off, and it made me enjoy seeing people get killed indiscriminately. Part 2 kicks up the kill count pretty freaking high and maintains that energy that the first one had. Although I will say that there was a little bit of typicalness in the very beginning of the movie. I kind of felt like it was going through the same steps that any typical action movie would do in the beginning. And I don't know if that's just because I was hypercritical about it being good or bad and I was paying too close of attention, but it seemed to kind of fix itself after about 20-30 minutes into the film. So hang in there, guys. When it does, I felt like standing up and cheering. I laughed so hard at some of the parts in this movie in a good way that I was crying. I was laughing so hard. For some reason, John Wick is able to go over the top while still keeping a balance on the actual movie. So it doesn't go too far and push it over, but just enough. One of the things I've noticed about the John Wick series is that people get shot in the fucking head like crazy. Bam! 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 John Wick does not give a bam! There are some pretty great new kills in this movie that'll tickle your murderous inner child. Kills that actually made the entire audience surge with yes! Oh my God! One scene in particular that I just loved, and I won't spoil for you, it involves Common and Keanu Reeves. And when you guys see this moment, you are going to enjoy yourself immensely. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in it. The movie is pretty self-aware that it is an over-the-top action film. Just like the first one was, it was able to pull itself back a little bit. Although in the second one, I will say that it kind of pushes the over-top a little bit more than the first one did. It does a really good job of balancing the style, fun, and over-the-top humor while decimating the entire cast. Although there were a few poetic moments in the movie that did kind of slow down the pacing of the film, but honestly, I didn't think it was all that bad. The movie does definitely delve deeper and harder into the underground world of hit men and hit women. And it even delves into the Continental Hotel where people go to seek asylum. The new villains and assassins are definitely a welcome addition. Some that you don't really get to know, some that you do. It's a pretty nice balance. I was particularly fond of Common's character, who plays as Cassian in this film. I thought he did an amazing job, and I loved his bounce back between Keanu and him. I thought it was perfect. I also want to give a nod to Ruby Rose, who actually did a pretty fairly decent job in this film of being kind of sinister, and I liked her character quite a bit. I definitely think the way that the story built up is definitely setting it up for the third sequel in the trilogy, which they've already started shooting for. Honestly, I think the third sequel is going to blow the doors right the fuck off. I don't want to score this movie, particularly because, one, I didn't score the first movie and do a review of it, and two, because I just think that if you're a fan of the original John Wick, you are going to be pleasantly surprised with this film. Now, I have heard some people say, oh, this is better than the first one. I won't vouch for that. I will say that it is definitely in line with the first one, and whether or not it beats the first one or not doesn't matter, because we all just want to be back in the John Wick world, right? What did you guys think? Did you see this movie? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Come back and let me know what you think once you've seen it. Was I on point? Did you enjoy some of the characters like I did? Either way, if you enjoyed this review, please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know. It really does go a long way to help out. And if you guys are interested, we typically do horror movies and horror movie reviews. So if you want to come back and check out our podcast called Beyond the Veil Horror Podcast, follow all the links below if you're on YouTube. Other than that, thank you guys so much for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.